So today I'm going to look at this Miniware TS1C Cordless Soldering Station. It's a pretty unique device. They sent this to me for the purpose of review at no cost, so thanks a lot Miniware for sending that to me. I showed this in mailbag before, and at the time I couldn't figure out how to open the box. It's actually quite easy, once you know how. I think it's magnetic or something. Yeah, there's a magnet. That's magnetic there somehow, so it holds it shut. Anyway, we're in. So got a manual. We'll look at that in a minute. And control base. Have the actual iron. Attachment for the sponge. I don't actually use sponges. I actually use brass wool. But this has got an interesting setup. You can attach it in different places. So if you want to put it there, also you've got to take the screw out. You can put it there, or you can put it on the sides instead. So you can actually put this wherever you want it. Or you could just leave it sitting next to it like that. I don't know. But, it gives you options, but yeah, so, you know, I don't know. I think in front's probably a bit risky. On the side's probably safer, you know, if left hand, right hand, whatever. And we've got soldering iron tip that comes with it. In here is a cable, USB-C cable, so it's C to C. This requires power delivery, 20 volt power delivery. I think it's 45 watts maximum is what you can produce, so, or requires, or something like that. So power delivery, you know, a couple of amps. I do actually have a power delivery power supply sitting here. It's the back of the box. So you can see it's got a supercapacitor. That's actually what runs the iron, it's a supercapacitor. It uses Bluetooth, so you set it up on the actual base here, and it uses Bluetooth communication to the handpiece. So it is completely wireless. Station control and rechargeable will be, it's kind of the same thing as it's just said here, isn't it? Uses the Miniware 3.5mm audio jack stuff, as you can see from this. And that's what they've chosen, that's their design, so that's what they use. I think it's the same as the TS80s and stuff like that. Thing here, it tells you what you get. Okay. Now in my case, I also asked them for the range of tips that they supply as well. So they've also sent me all of the tips, because I didn't have any tips to go with it. Obviously it came with one anyway, as you'd expect. But I wanted the other ones too, because I don't actually like some tips. I've got preferences. Everyone's got preferences about what soldering iron tips they use. There's a J hook one, J2. What's this one here? It's a D25, which is like a flat one. You've got these two here, which are is a knife tip. BC, there we go. BC, so that's conical type, and they're kind of stuck together. There we go. Yes, a TSK4 and a BC02. Those are quite common sort of numbers that are used for even different brands. This one's quite interesting. I just noticed this tip here as it came. The actual tip is, well, it come apart, I suppose. It just screws on. It's just that little cover that goes over there. Just noticed it unscrewed. It's floating around inside the casing. No big deal. And that's that like wide one I said before. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's have a really quick look at the manual. Now I think it's quite comprehensive. I actually have a quick look at it before, unusual for me. Page 17 is where the English language starts. It's got multiple languages in here, and it's a nice manual. It's well put together. So let's just flip through the pages. I'm not going to read it. You can read it. I'm not going to pause too long or anything. Bullet points are: use a supercapacitor, 750 farads, and it uses that to charge up the actual iron. Uses Wi-Fi, 36 watts, 750 farad. Which takes up to 7 minutes to charge. You can charge it up either through the base once it's been configured, or through a USB-C cable. So if you want to plug a cable straight into the back of the iron once you've got it configured, you can use it that way too. And obviously this manual will be available online as well. It looks like it's a really nice manual. I mean, it's all the information there that you might need. It's got a standby function and a sleep function. You can configure all those things. Different tips are available. Troubleshooting. Things don't work right for some reason. Firmware upgrades. You can upgrade the firmware on both the base and the actual soldering iron itself. There's instructions on how to do it. You can customise your built-up logo. If you really want to do that, you can. It's a gimmicky thing, but if you want to do it, you can. That's it. So I'm actually trying to figure out what I can solder with this one, because I don't have anything I want to use this on at the moment. I've got some projects to do. I might have to do this as part of those projects. I don't have anything on hand right now really to solder, so I don't know about soldering demonstrations. We'll certainly look at the menu system and see how this thing actually functions. So you can see the tip goes in nice and easy. It's actually a nice connection. That's not too hard to put in. It's nice, robust. It pops in nicely, pops back out nicely. Doesn't feel like it's just going to fall out or anything like that. It feels like a nice connection. It feels good. Balance feels okay. It feels a little bit back heavy maybe. I don't know. It might be fine. Depends on how big your hands are, I suppose. I mean, it feels okay. Tip distance feels alright, that sort of stuff. I think the handle feels a bit weird to me. Maybe I should do it more side on. Yeah, maybe side on's better. I'm trying to sort of do it this way. I think that way's probably better. Then you've got the button on the side as well. It's like a boost button. So apparently if you hold that down, it will go up to like 400 degrees C or something. And whilst you hold that button down, so if you need a bit extra power, you can do that to get some temporary extra power. When you release it, goes back down to the set point, apparently. And there's also this little disc over here. Behind that, there's a USB-C port. Well, I actually have that on there. I'm not quite sure whether I can bother, but I suppose maybe it reduce confusion. But you can use that for doing the firmware updates and also for powering it directly once you've got it configured. So, yeah. Okay, let's plug this thing in. I'll plug the base in without the iron in first. We'll see what happens. Power is on. Let's plug it in. There we go. Searching for a device. Didn't find it. Okay, let's plug the iron in. There we go, found it. So it's paired now, I think. Yes, well, that one. There we go, that one. Okay, so it says heating. There we go. So we've got a Bluetooth symbol, so it's connected. 100 degrees C. 16 is the current temperature. And the battery level, well, that's not really a battery, it's a capacitor and charging. So it's capacitor, charge state, and it's in charging right now. It's telling us what these two buttons are doing. So we've got A and B here. Now this dial here, that is for setting the temperature whilst it's operating, so you can just turn that to change temperature. I know that's something a lot of people like, so that's quite good. Let's go into B, let's look at the settings. Working temperature 300 degrees C, so let's increase that a little bit. I like to have a bit more. Now it's got this 1 degree steps. I'm not a fan of 1 degree steps. Preheat temperature 250, so preheat is like a standby thing. Sleep temperature 100 degrees C, so when you've not used it for a period of time. Sleep time is 300 seconds, so that's 5 minutes. So if you haven't used it for 5 minutes, we'll go to sleep, which means it will go to that 100 degree setting. To me, that's a bit low. It goes up by 30-second steps. That 10 minutes. It's a bit touchy on the encoder. Where the actual changes, it's not where the actual step is. The step is in between. So it kind of wants to go 2. Not sure I like the encoder, actually. The encoder's a bit... No, the encoder doesn't feel very nice. Idle time, same thing. I'm going to put that as 10 minutes. Temperature unit C, yep. Set temperature steps, 1 degree steps. I think that's ridiculous. Let's do 5 degree steps. So backlight's 5%, or 50% I suppose. Backlight brightness. Now because it's an OLED, it's best to keep it as low as you can in order to minimise wear on the actual LED. OLEDs do fade over time and they do get burning and stuff like that, so it is best to keep it as low as you can. So I'm going to leave it on 5 for now. 5 seems fine for doing this. And there's information here. Hardware and firmware. S and P. I don't know which one's which. Oh, it's gone. There's information there about this particular unit. So if I push the A button, that should start heating, I think. Yep, it's set to 310. You can see the heat up time there. And also you've got a little power gauge. Now it does take a while to heat up because it is running off a supercapacitor. It's not high power iron, don't forget, it's only 36 watts or something, so it's not high power. So it's fine for smaller stuff and basic SMD work and that sort of stuff. It definitely wouldn't be an issue. Now obviously this capacitor in here needs 7 minutes to charge up as well. So I'm going to heat it up to temperature and then you can see that it's running off the capacitor and it is charging. should start charging back up again. So it said 7 minutes to charge up the capacitor. Apparently capacitor can charge like 10,000 times or something. That's what they say in the manual, which I did actually read a little bit. And it's interesting, that's saying 5 volts over there. I am running off a power delivery bank, so I'm not sure why it's only 5 volts. Pretty sure it's doing 20. Let's unplug it and plug it back in again. It may be because I've got 2 devices plugged into the same bank. Bluetooth pairing, here we go. Heating, put it back on. There you go, now it says 20 volts. So this was a slight firmware glitch there, where it said 5 volts initially and 20 volts. Now, if you try and run this from a non-power delivery device, why is it not heating? It's gone to standby. There we go. So, and that's gone to 5 volts again. 12 volts, 20 volts. It's negotiating. Interesting. Interesting. Now, because this requires power delivery, if it's on a 5 volt supply, it will actually tell you that you need a power delivery device. It's some kind of thing it mentioned in the manual. So if it's only got a 5 volt rail, it probably won't work too well. But it's interesting that was changing around. Maybe it's renegotiating with my power bank, because I've got the power bank plugged into 2 devices as well. So maybe that's causing issues. I'm not sure. It's sitting in standby at 250 degrees as set. If I change this now, what's that doing? Work temperature, okay. So we'll set it to 300. And I'll get my iron tester out and we'll check for accuracy. I didn't notice any compensation things in here. So we've only got adjustments for actual temperatures and times and stuff. I didn't see anything. No, there's no compensation settings that I can see. B, that's doing pairing. That's what a B does. Hold the P down. A does the heating part. Hold it down. I think it forgets it. Yeah, if you do A, it forgets it, and yeah. So you have to do that again, reselect it. Yeah, so hold the A down, it forgets the device. Once you've got it set up, you shouldn't really need to worry about it again. Maybe that feature to forget the Bluetooth is just there in case you have a communication issue or something gets screwed up and you have to repair it just to fix it up. Sometimes it happens with Bluetooth. That's sitting standby right now, it's looking fine. So let me get my iron temperature tester out and we'll see what we get. Right, let's have a look at this. So let's turn this on. We'll get some solder ready. Take it out of the stand. Now, can I take it out without holding the stand? No. I need to kind of hold the stand to get it out because it's got these clips where it goes into charge up. So that's now heating to 300. Yeah, it's done it. Let's see what we get. So it says 300 degrees right there. And let's see what temperature we actually get off this particular tip. Now there's no calibration I can see. It's about 318. Okay, it's about 18 degrees over. Okay, let's adjust the temperature. Let's get to say 350. It's already there, even before the display's gone off. Yeah, it's already there. And that's saying 375, it's about 25 degrees over. Okay, let's go 400. That's actually heating up really quickly. That's doing really well. So that initial heating to get that lower level up takes a little while. 400 is like 25 degrees over again. 400 is the max it can go. Okay. Drop it back down to say 250, it's a long take to get there. Slowly dropping down. Okay, it's going to take a while. I'll come back. In fact, I'll put it in the holder like that. And this does appear to be a real feedback as well. It's not some of these fake numbers. That does appear to be an actual number. That does seem to make sense. It does correlate. So some irons will have a fake number. They'll just, you know, display roughly. It'll be rounded to like the nearest 5 or 10 degrees or something like that. And it'll be just to help stabilize. They don't get these number fluctuations. But this does appear to be an actual temperature. So they're showing the real thing. See, it's dropped by 1 degree there. And then it'll be compensating for that in tuning. So that actually is an actual readout, not just a dummy, it's about that number readout, which some irons have. Many irons actually have that. To like buffer it, so you don't see those small changes in temperature. So that's sitting at 250 now. And it's just cycling the power very slightly there. Stick it back on here again. See what we get. So at 250, we're about 18 degrees over again. So, okay, on that tip it's got a bit of an offset on it. That's right, that's that tip. I mean, you can get variations between tips. To turn this thing off, apparently you have to push this button on the handle 3 times. Apparently. Yeah, there we go, it's gone off. So you can do that to turn it off, but leaves the base on. I don't think there's any way. Oh, let's turn it back on again. Now I've plugged it back into the base. If I leave it in the base and push it 3 times, now it's turned off. Okay. Just want to see what happens with this. Turn it back on again. So you can't actually turn this off if you have it in the base. If it's in the base, it's on. Now, I don't think there's a way of actually turning the base off. That's not clicking. I don't believe there's any actual way of turning it off. If the base is plugged into power, it's on. Which means you always be unplugging and plugging the cable in, which is kind of annoying. Or maybe you have a wall switch or something for your power bank, which I actually do. So that could be something to consider. Having a switch on it would have been nice. I could have made it so this was clickable. That encoder there could have made a better encoder for that. This encoder doesn't feel nice. I mean, natural digits change halfway between. Like there's a detent there, changes halfway between, another detent there. When I hit the other detent, it changes again. So it changes by 2 for 1 click. Unless I turn it fast. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the encoder. Yeah, that makes it a bit finicky to get the numbers right. I don't like that. It's kind of ruining the experience actually for me. You know, because it's got the encoder, which is great for adjusting temperature rather than push buttons and messing around menus. I like that. But I don't like the way the encoder is working on this one. If you do it fast enough, I think it's right. But it's still a bit touchy, you know. It's just like, I want to get 250. 250, come on, 250. Oh, there we go, got it in. Now it's a detent, now 245, 240, 250, 55, no. See that, there you go. That took a bit to get 250. So the encoder is really negative for this. I don't like the encoder. If you're actually trying to change by 1 count. So yeah, I think they need to work on that encoder, make that better. Also seeing some interesting things with like the firmware, the way it's behaving. Like before it went to standby, when I put the thing back into the stand, right? So I've got it out, I've used it, put it back in. Now before, when I did that, it was going back into standby pretty much straight away. Now it's not. It's sitting at the operating temperature. So, you know, if I've got it set at 300, you can do A to get back out quick if you want. You can see the iron temperature coming up, that's working fine. And it's still saying 5 volts here again. I don't know why it's saying 5 volts, because it won't be running off 5 volts. You put it back in. And before that was going back to the standby temperature, which is 250. Now it's not. Kind of confusing. It doesn't seem to be consistent behaviour. So I think there are a few little firmware glitches on this one. Maybe I should see if there's a newer firmware for this. But unfortunately I can't update it right now because the wife isn't here and the computer's not here. And as I use a Mac, I can't update it with the Mac, because if you try and update devices using a Mac, like this is plugged in, it shows up as a drive. But if you do that with a Mac, it will often brick it. Doesn't matter what the device is. I've had bad experiences with it. So if you've got any device like this, don't plug it into a Mac and update the firmware. Always do it on a PC. Yeah, so it says version 1.4, isn't it? Is that what I said? Yeah, firmware 1.4. So maybe I should go and have a look and see if there's a newer firmware version. Maybe there's some glitches fixed. But I can't update it right now anyway. Okay, so I think I may have been a bit harsh on this originally with the power situation, because I had to go away and do something else for a little while, and I came back. I was still in the same room. And I heard it beep a couple of times. I guess one beep was when it went to standby mode or sleep mode. And then I heard another beep a little while after that. And I've come back and the display is actually off. So it actually does turn itself off after a period of time. So I think if there's no activity, it will turn itself off. So in that case, leaving it plugged in, it's fine. It doesn't need a power switch because it's doing this. Although obviously it still has power going to it. It's actually inactive. Push a button, it's waking up. It says heating stop, that's fine. Oh, maybe it's because the iron's gone flat. See, it's gone off there, no charge. So it says there's no charge on it. So I don't know. Now it's charging. heating stop is obviously when it's completely flat. There you go, now it's booting up properly. I'm not going to heat it right now, it's going to leave it sitting here like this to charge up. So that's something which could catch you out if you leave it sitting, maybe because this doesn't seem to tell this to turn off. It looks like this will stay on even if you don't have the base. That's kind of what it appears like. I'm not sure. I might have to monitor that some more. But the fact the base turned off, I would have thought that the iron would have turned off as well, but the fact it said the iron was flat, yeah, it's completely flat, so it discharged it. So the iron itself didn't turn off when the base turned off, it seems. Really, they should tell the iron to turn off when the base turns off. To me, that's a bit of a firmware issue. With this sitting for a while, as I went and had some lunch, it's charged up again. So let's take it back off the cradle. Now, I haven't got it set to heat. Just push this button and see what happens when I push this button. Nothing. Okay, push it and hold it. Nothing. Okay, so I guess we have to initiate heating with that regardless. You can see the symbol here saying heating. Alright, so also going to just tin this tip as well, just to make sure it's all nice. It's good to make sure that when you have your irons done, you tin the tips and leave them with solder on. If you want it to last a bit longer. So that's it at 300. Now let's just whack it up to 400 by holding this button. So whilst I'm holding it, it's heating up to 400. It's that turbo thing it's got. There you go, 400. Alright, and then we release it and it should drop back down again. Yep. So that's the turbo mode, that works fine. So if you need that targeted heat for a short time, that's perfect. So I push this 3 times, what happens? It turned off. But did it? Been there before. So it's turned off like that. So I'll make sure I leave it tin. Okay. But even when it turned off, you know, the heat is left in it. Now if I put this on a stand, it will go into standby mode. So it's charging. The last time also went to standby. This time I didn't do that. So again, it's got this inconsistent behaviour. When I did this before, it behaved differently. I put it to sleep, put it on the charger, and it woke up and went to standby mode. So there's some interesting behaviours going on here with the firmware. Maybe some kind of way I'm using it, which is a bit subtle about how there's a difference. Right now it's just sitting there charging, which is perfectly fine. Okay, let's see what happens now. Nothing happened. Okay. There's no heat in it. Light's not on, so it's not operating. It's definitely off. And put it back in again. Should say charge on again. It does. Yeah, so I don't know. So you can actually turn it off and leave it in that state. It's interesting, I couldn't do that originally though. It's strange. I'm going to try something because it's always saying 5 volts down here. Well, it's not always saying it, but it's saying it most of the time. Just plug one of these USB-C testers in and see what this says. Of course, it's always want to twist around the other way. Alright, plug that in. 5 volts. Okay, so that is actually 5 volts it's on right now. No, it's got a 20 volts. There you go. And the iron is charging. Okay. Did it 3 times, the iron went off. This is 5 volts, put the iron back in. Still 5 volts. Okay, turn the heating on. Whole thing's gone off actually. Interesting. Heating. So trying to get this to come back on again now. So right now it won't come back on. So maybe it doesn't like having this in line, I don't know. Let's unplug that. Plug it back in again. And to 5 volts. Try and get you to see both if I can, but anyway, still see your 5 volts. Then I push the button to start heating. Now it's in standby, it says 20 volts. There we go, started heating. Maybe it's Bluetooth communication. Anyway, we'll see what it does for a bit. See, it's putting 1.5 amps there. It's 200 degrees. As I've got it in the stand, it might sit to a standby. It's got a 235 degrees sitting there. That might be what my standby is currently set to. But you can see it's still pulling some power, but it's cycling a little bit. Yeah, I think it must be on standby now. Okay, let's lift it out. Obviously that'll drop down because now it's running with the iron itself. Temperature's gone up, 300. Cool. So it's sitting on that when it's idle. Let's put the iron back in again. So it's sitting at 5 volts now. It's interesting. There we go, 9. So go show at 9 volts. And that's what it says on the display, back down to 5 again. Okay, so that display is indeed what's coming out on the supply, what it's negotiating. Although it says it needs 20 volts, I guess that's for when it's heating and stuff. If I push this whilst it's docked, what happens if I do that? Went off straight away. Went down to 5 volts. Well, it's already on 5 volts. And now it's rebooting. So if you try to do that whilst it's in the dock, it behaves differently compared to when it's not in the dock. So I take it out of the dock. Right, got a green light on there. Push it off. That's gone off. So this is now off. That is not communicating with the iron anymore. There we go, now it's gone off. Now if I put it in the dock, what happens? Charges. Okay, so maybe what it was before when I was turning the iron off, I was putting it into the stand too quickly. So this hadn't actually registered that it had gone off yet. So I went to standby. Ignore the cat, he's not happy. He broke his leg and now he's in a cage. Stop him from moving around so much. Well, thanks a lot, Miniware, for sending that to me at no cost. It's an interesting device. Now, I wish I'd actually be able to do some soldering on some circuitry with it, but I've got nothing here right now which I can demonstrate it on. I do have some projects to do, but I don't want to get stuck into them right now. User interfaces and stuff, it seems fine. The firmware's a little bit finicky, I think. It's got some bits which could be finessed a bit. The encoder I don't like. I mean, it's nice to have one. Rather have that than up and down buttons, I tell you. Prefer encoders for that. The implementation of this encoder is not very good. It doesn't really just... It's not the same Miniware quality. You know, Miniware does make nice quality stuff. This encoder doesn't match that. So there's some things I like about it, things I think can be improved a little bit. All the tips look fine. I mean, obviously I haven't plugged these in and tried them out, but I don't see why I really need to be honest. I just wanted to see what they look like and see, you know, what the appearance of stuff was, and to show you them that there's a selection of tips you can use on this thing if you can, you know, you just go and buy them. So the links down below to Miniware to go and look at this device, and probably affiliate links or something down below too. I guess I'll have something like that down there. So check those out. If you're interested in looking at my videos, I'll go to the playlists. There's also a Patreon support link just over there if you want to help support the channel. You can also buy me a coffee, and all those links down below there too. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.